Hi, I'm Renarta Clanton Moyd. I'm a communications specialist with the Cumberland County Schools and your host of Get Connected. During this monthly show, we highlight numerous educational topics that face today's student, educator, and parent in the Cumberland County Schools. Now, high school seniors and juniors across the country are completing college applications, planning campus tours, and receiving college acceptances. And the students in the Cumberland County school system are no different. After the break, we'll talk with some local experts about the numerous facets of college admissions and financing on this edition of Get Connected.
Can you consent with me? Imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. 'Cause every kid across the nation deserves a book to read, and we can make it happen right now.
No, I don't know what you've been told, but kids with books learn so much more. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite,
Unearth hidden passion.
Mom will have a good time.
Plant seeds of inspiration to motivate some magic.
Change the writing on the wall, writing on the wall.
And make a difference. One book can inspire a child. One book can be the first thing that helps to change a life.
People unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
Again, thanks for joining us for this edition of Get Connected, where we're talking with Jamie Legg, the Dean of Admissions at Methodist University, Angela Smith, a recruiter at Fayetteville Technical Community College, and Michael Head, the Associate Director of Admissions at Fayetteville State University. Jamie, Angela, Michael, welcome.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
Great to be here.
All right, I'm so glad that you all are here. You guys are the movers and shakers there at your respective universities and colleges, aren't you?
That's right.
Woo woo! So excited. Okay. First off, let me ask this. When should a student start thinking about college?
Well, Renata, I think it's never too early to start thinking about college. I've got an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old who are already thinking about college, but I personally think that students should get serious about college when they get into the high school level, because courses that they take, even as a 9th grader, matter. Grades that they make, even as a 9th grader, matter. So I personally think that students should start thinking about college as soon as they can, but being serious about that thought process starting once they get into high school.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. There are some families that began the process in middle school with visiting institutions that they may be interested in, visiting websites just to kind of see what kind of opportunities may be available, what their requirements are at those institutions, so that once they become high school students, they're already on track immediately. When they connect with their guidance counselor, they already have an idea of the institutions they're interested in attending, and as a result, they make sure that they're on the proper track to satisfy requirements for those particular institutions. So even as early as middle school, but certainly the focus really kicks in gear in their high school years.
Yeah, I can agree. Even with planting those seeds and, like you said, taking them to different sporting events at different colleges and universities just to whet their appetite. I agree with that. And there's a certain role, not only should the students start kind of thinking about that, the parents should as well, correct?
That's correct.
Absolutely.
Okay, Angela, did you want to?
Well, one thing I'd like to say about Fayetteville Tech is it's really important before they become a senior to maybe understand which path they're taking, especially if it's going to be a health program, because there are certain prereqs that they're going to need in high school.
Now, when you say prereqs, you mean?
Prerequisites.
Okay.
For instance, to go into our nursing program, you need to have chemistry, biology, and algebra. And you can get those in high school for free, but if you don't get them in high school, then you're going to have to take them with us and you'll have to pay for that class. So if they have an idea of what direction they're going in, then they can prepare themselves while they're still in high school to take those prereqs.
Good. Now let me ask you this. When should a student start trying to decide whether or not a 2-year institution is for me or a 4-year institution is for me?
I think that planning starts early as well, Renarta. Students should start thinking about possible career options and what they want to be when they grow up. It's a common question when you've got a 6, 7, 8-year-old, what do you want to be when you grow up? That's an important question for students. It's not just a rhetorical question, but it's an important question for students to start considering as middle schoolers and early high schoolers. And a lot of that's going to determine where they want to go. If they want to be a doctor or a lawyer, they're going to need a 4-year degree at some point in time. On the other hand, if they want to be a phlebotomist, that's a 2-year degree. So they really need to start thinking early about what they want to be, what they want to do, and where they want to go.
That's good. Okay,
The role of a community college is actually to get them into the workforce quickly. And the example I like to use is nursing, for instance. You can get an associate's degree in 2 years at the community college, but a 4-year, at ECU or Methodist or FSU, and you're going to come out of those institutions making the exact same amount of money. If you're an RN, whether you graduated with Methodist or you graduated with Fayetteville Tech, you're going to come out making the same exact amount of money. So the focus of the community college is to get them into the workforce quicker.
Okay, that's good.
Of course, the ceiling is going to be higher with a 4-year degree, and the 4-year degree is also a gateway to a graduate program where the salary ceiling is even higher. So students have to give all of those things consideration when they're thinking about careers choices, and then the education that they need to achieve those things.
Okay. Now, when a student is decided, I'm thinking I might do 2-year, or I'm thinking I might do 4-year, then they have to actually choose that college or university. What are some things that they should really consider as far as choosing a college and a university?
Well, the obvious things that they want to consider are cost, whether or not their budget allows for the education at the institution that offers a degree program that they're interested in pursuing. They want to take a look at the culture of the institution, whether or not it fits their personality, because each institution has its own culture, its own vibe, and you want to make sure that it fits your vibe and your culture so that you feel comfortable at that particular institution. In addition to that, you want to look at size of the institution. I always tell students to be honest with yourself. You know what works for you. You know what size institution, what culture you need to be a part of, the costs associated with that institution, and the degree program that you're pursuing. So you want to consider those things as you move through this process.
I think learning style is an important consideration as well. A student who's an active, participatory learner may want to look for a smaller institution where those classrooms are active and participatory. A student who's a little bit more of a passive learner may want to look at a larger university where they can absorb information and that type of thing. So I think that learning style, in addition to the things that Michael has mentioned, I think that learning style is an important consideration as well.
Now, I know that you all probably attend a lot of college fairs.
Yes, absolutely.
And you talk to many, many students. What seems to be the most pervasive question that most of them have for you when they approach your table and they want to discuss your respective institution?
I think test anxiety is one of the biggest
Test
things that students have. They want to know how much tests matter. The SAT, the ACT, that's one of the biggest fears that I hear among prospective students is how much do the SAT or ACTs matter? And I'm glad to say on our campus, and I suspect on the campuses represented on this panel and most nationally, that tests aren't the primary factors that most colleges and universities are considering. Most schools want to see a well-rounded student that's taken good courses and performed well in the classroom. And I tell people all the time, the SAT and ACT are one Saturday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. You're
when that's the last place they want to be.
Stressed out.
Nobody's tweeting out and on SAT day, can't wait to take the SAT today. So that's one of the fears that I hear, and one of the things that I want students and parents to understand is that tests aren't the be-all, end-all. For us, and I suspect the others on this panel, grades, curriculum, much more important than standardized tests are.
That's good to hear. I mean, because I know when I was coming through many, many, many years ago, that seemed to have been, like your SAT, your SAT. And we were literally like, I guess a lot of the students now, just stressed out. But then I would also hear like you said, your extracurriculars, how are you doing in your classes? But then now I'm starting to hear about community service as well. So that's something else you all consider?
Right. We look at those things as well. However, as a state institution, as it stands, we have what are known as minimum test requirements and minimum GPA. Each institution can build on those minimums, but the institution requires a student to meet those minimums in order to be considered at the state institution. So although we look for a well-rounded student as well, we do have certain minimums that we do require from students in order to enroll them at the university. So at our table, when we're at these college fairs, we get a lot of those questions. What are your minimums? Although that's not all that we look at. We certainly consider community service and things of that nature. Another thing that students ask a lot about are scholarship opportunities.
Oh, yes.
And that's kind of where the participation and the community service, in addition to the grades and the test scores, will get a student a scholarship or have them in higher contention for scholarships.
That's good. And you know what, I want to ask you a question, Angela. As far as SAT is concerned, is that an ACT? Is that a factor as far as FT?
That's actually a great question. We do not enroll students based on their SAT or their ACT scores. We don't even require them.
Oh, wow.
We have something that's called the AccuPlacer that's in place here, and that is free to the student. Now, however, there's exceptions to every rule. If you have certain scores on your ACT or SAT, then you could be exempt from taking our AccuPlacer. But that's what we have in place.
In the AccuPlacer, what are you tested on?
It's your English, your grammar, and your math skills. And it just lets us know where you stand in those. For instance, we're not going to put somebody in a college English course if they're reading at an 8th grade level. So that's all it's designed to do. It won't keep you out of the school. It just lets us know where we need to start your skill level, and we'll put you in the correct classes.
That's good. That's good. Now, you know what? Something else I know as the faces of your universities to our young people, you all have tours, you set up things of that nature for them,
Absolutely.
correct?
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm sure quite a few of them attend.
Yes.
And what are some of the things that you all acquaint them with during these?
Well, certainly our
visits?
facilities. We give them a general tour of the university itself. We will take them into some of the dormitories because a lot of students are interested in how the dorms look, how the dorms room look, because that'll be their home away from home. So they're very interested in that. We'll take them into their respective departments, maybe get them connected to their potential faculty members that they'll be studying up under. But those are some of the things. And of course, we have a question and answer session or overview session in the beginning to just give out some basic information about scholarships, requirements, athletic opportunities, and then open the floor for them to ask their questions so that we can satisfy those concerns that they may have before we take the actual tour of the campus.
That's good.
One of the things that's unique at Methodist is that we do all of our visits on an individual basis. We don't do open houses. We don't have, 300 people at a time walking around campus. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but for us, we want each student to understand their fit at the university. Not the agenda, what the agenda tells them. So every visit on our campus is completely unique and tailored to exactly what that student wants. If they want to sit in on a class or if they want to meet with a faculty member. We'll do 1,500 visits this year, all one at a time.
Wow. I guess your office is hopping.
We're busy.
Yeah.
But as a smaller university, it's what works for us.
Right,
And it really is something that our students really get a good feel. And that's one of the things that I think all of us are looking for in the process is, does this student fit with the university? And I think that the students are looking for the same thing. Am I a fit for the university? And we feel on our campus that the best way to do that is one at a time, one-on-one, sitting down with an admissions counselor, getting a tour with a current student, seeing the facilities they want to see, talking to the faculty that they want to see, and getting that personal attention. So, it's a really productive way to see the campus.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what, we're going to take a break, okay? You all don't go on any campus tours while we're here, okay? Just sit tight, okay? All right, you don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for more Get Connected.
Explore new worlds. Read. Visit literacy.gov and let the journey begin.
Hi, thanks for joining us for a Get Connected Extra. Our special guest is Mary Schmid, the Program Coordinator for High School Connections. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you.
It's been a while since you've been with us. Tell us, what's been going on with High School Connections?
Well, we're really excited. We've got some new things going on that are going to be really great. For people that don't know much about the program, we are a partnership between local high schools and Fayetteville Technical Community College that allows local 10th and 11th grade students to come up and actually take tuition-free classes. So it's a great way for them to get a jump start on whatever their plans will be for after graduation. Starting next year, we've got a couple new programs that we'd really like to highlight. We've added some new college transfer courses like American Government, Introduction to Ethics, and we've also added some new career-based programs like Accounting and Office Assistant. Those are in addition to our traditional popular programs like Nursing and EMS, Culinary, those kinds of things. So we're really excited. It's a great opportunity for students to get dual enrollment credit. They're getting high school and college credit at the same time, completely tuition free. It's a great savings for the parents, and we just think we've got a great opportunity for them.
Now, how does a student qualify?
They do have to be in their 11th or 12th grade year. So right now, this spring, we're recruiting 10th and 11th grade students for next fall. They do have to have a pretty decent GPA, and there are some testing requirements, but we can kind of help walk them through that if they're interested in the program. So if they'd like to be enrolled, now is the time to do it, and they just need to go talk to somebody in their guidance office at their high school. We pretty much have a point of contact in every high school that knows about the program, knows the paperwork, and can help the student get started. We also work with homeschool students, and those students can make an appointment to come see me directly.
All right, Mary. Great information.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, this has been a Get Connected Extra.
Take my hand and start a brand new day. And together as one we'll start to see some change.
Underneath everything we are, underneath everything we do, we are all people. Connected, interdependent, united. And when we reach out a hand to one, we can influence the condition of all. That's what it means to live united.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of Get Connected. Our guests are Jamie Legg, the Dean of Admissions at Methodist University, Angela Smith, a recruiter at Fayetteville Technical Community College, and Michael Head, the Associate Director of Admissions at Fayetteville State University. And we're discussing college admissions and financing. Now, question, how soon should a student start applying to college? Because we've done a lot of other talking about thinking about it and all this stuff, but when should they really start putting paper to pen to paper, if they do that anymore?
Typically, that's done online now.
All right, things have changed.
Yeah, I think it depends really on the institution. There are a number of schools that are going to have early decision, early action periods that may start as early as September, October timeframe. On our campus, we receive the bulk of our applications from October through February. By now, we're starting to weed down and find those students who are now selecting our institution. But from October to February is when we get our big push of those seniors that are applying to college. And that application is, as I said earlier, typically done online. Most of our applications come through the cfnc.org website. It's the application that we have linked on our website, and I'd say 95% of our applications come through the cfnc.org website.
Now, you know what? I know in a previous interview you and I did, Jamie, we talked about cfnc.org.
Yes, ma'am.
I was amazed to find that you can pretty much just fill out one bit of information and it goes to all these different colleges and universities. I mean, I'm sorry, but back in my day, you had to pay for each and you had to send it to each institution. So things have changed.
Right, well, technology has certainly advanced our processes quite a bit. So CFNC, I agree with Jamie, we get a bulk of applications from the CFNC process, but we still allow for the paper version of the application because some students prefer it for their own reasons.
Right.
But in November, we have what's known as CFNC Week, where students are allowed the opportunity to go online, and many schools participate and allow students to apply free of charge, so they do
so
not
no
have to pay.
fees?
Right, there's no fee for that particular week for the schools that are participating in CFNC Week.
Now, in order to find out about that particular week, what parents and students need to continually check on the website, or what would they need to do?
That, as well as connecting with their guidance counselors, it's pretty well advertised throughout the school. And they, some of the counselors from the universities, such as Jamie, myself, we all go to the high schools and assist with the process as well during CFNC Week to make sure that the students are going through the process properly, clicking all the right buttons to make sure that their information is being submitted so that they're not under the impression that they submitted an application and it wasn't submitted properly. So we're there just to make ourselves available to assist. So we advertise it ourselves, the institutions, the high schools advertise it, the guidance counselors advertise it, and they can certainly visit the CFNC website just to stay abreast of what's going on as well.
And then CFNC also, it kind of helps you as far as getting your mind wrapped around the financial aspect. Let's talk a bit about that, because that's a huge piece in this puzzle.
Sure.
Okay, jump in.
As a representative of a private institution, it's probably the #1 question we get once students have applied. How much is this going to cost? And the thing that I would tell students and parents and families is find the fit first, and then go through the financial aid process. The free application for federal student assistance is typically the single application that most colleges and universities will require.
Now that's, excuse me, I hate to interrupt you, but that's the FAFSA?
The FAFSA,
Okay,
yes ma'am.
FAFSA,
Yep.
okay.
And that application is available after January 1st of each academic year. So in that senior year, students will fill out that FAFSA form. And it is, for us, and I suspect maybe for the other two panelists here, Michael and Angela, for us, it's the single application for all federal, state, and university-sponsored need-based scholarship and grant programs. There are other forms that other institutions may require. Some schools have supplemental forms. Some schools use something called the CSS profile. Typically, that's the Dukes, the Wake Forests, the Davidsons, those types of places. Will ask for the CSS profile. But the FAFSA form is really the starting point for us for financial aid. And I can say without question that the vast majority of our students pay nowhere near our full cost. Last year, over 90% of our students qualified for need-based financial assistance. And on average, our students got over $20,000 per year of financial aid. And I would suspect that the numbers are similar on these campuses as well.
Would you agree?
Correct. Yes, we use that form for
And
the
that's
Pell.
FTCC?
Yes, we do use the FAFSA form for any type of Pell Grants, scholarships, and student loans. That is the first thing the student must fill out to receive any type of financial aid.
Okay.
Yeah, and one thing I want to add is just to be careful when you're seeking financial aid, because there are companies out there that have forms out there that actually charge you for the financial aid process. So you want to make sure you connect with your guidance counselors or connect with your local institutions, because even if you're not considering that local institution, you can always go into their office for assistance in the financial aid process to make sure that you're filling out the correct financial aid form, because the FAFSA is free. There is no cost associated with it, but there are scamming organizations out there that are seeking funding from students just to apply for the financial aid process.
And one of them is actually FAFSA.com.
Okay, so that's a
So you gotta
fee
be
there.
very, very careful.
I think they charge $85 to submit a form that is free. So
Now, you know what, when I hear FAFSA, I always think that it's, as a parent in trying to fill that out, I have to have my tax forms, I have to have, just that it's overwhelming. Is it an overwhelming type of form to complete?
It has its challenges. It is a meticulous form. You do have to pay close attention, but you don't have to have your tax forms available at that moment. You can estimate when it comes to that and just kind of provide the documentation later, and they will base your funding on your estimation and make adjustments as needed once the actual documentation comes back. Okay. But the expectation is not for the families to do it on their own.
Okay.
We, for instance, are at Fayetteville State, literally we're having a FAFSA day on campus tomorrow to assist families and students through this particular process so that they are not overwhelmed. So they do understand that we are there to assist them. And again, you can go into any of the local institutions and they'll help you with that process. Okay. So it can be overwhelming, but we try to help eliminate some of that pressure.
And just to be clear, make sure you go to the .gov website, not .com, not .net, it's .gov.
Give us the address. Give us.
It's FAFSA.
FAFSA.gov.
Okay, that's good. That's
free application for federal student assistance.gov.
Hey, you can't mess that one up. That's good.
And to answer your question and add on to what Michael had mentioned, there are a lot of questions on the FAFSA form, but most of them are things that people know. Name, address, telephone number, social security number, date of birth. Yeah. And although you don't need to have taxes completed, it is absolutely makes the process much easier if a family does have their FAFSA, their taxes completed, because the FAFSA actually allows you to link IRS data with the FAFSA form, and with 3 questions, 3 clicks of a mouse, you can answer about 30 questions on the FAFSA form.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. And you know what, I'm looking at the clock on the wall, I see our time is ticking down. Want to ask you, best advice you could give a young person considering coming to your respective university or college?
Relax, have fun, enjoy the process. You're only going to have one chance to do it.
One chance to do it. Angela?
Come out, take a tour, see what we're all about. I think you will like what you see.
And this is at FTCC?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Research. Start the process early. Identify scholarship funds. Connect with individuals that will help you through the process.
All right. Well, I tell you, I have enjoyed having you all on the show. You'll come back again, right?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, no, I saw some hesitation there. But that's okay. We'll track you down. You know we will. All right, well, thank you again. And on behalf of the Cumberland County School System, we want to thank you for tuning in to this edition of our show and giving us a chance to help you get connected. Until next time.